What's up, guys? Welcome to the Mississippi Real Estate Podcast, hosted by Ryan Watson.
And I'm Tripp Spruill, where it's all about real life, real talk, and real estate.
Join us as we dive into the stories, trends, and insider tips shaping the world of Mississippi real estate.
Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or you're just curious about the market, we've got all the insights you need to navigate with confidence. So if y'all are ready, let's get real.
All right, welcome. On this episode, we've got a very special guest with us today. He is actually our broker and co-owner of Weichert Realtors Innovations, Brandon, and we've got an office in Gluckstadt as well.
Right. Yep.
And so his name is Clay Parker, and he's with us today. Clay, tell him a little bit about you and who you are and what you do. And
Clay Parker, broker, co-owner of Weichert. Have a really unique, I guess, story how I got to this point. But got 3 kids, Graham, Colston, Mary Clayton, 18, 14, and 13. I always have to think about it. So,
all teenagers.
Super fun era. They're pretty much self-sufficient, and but yeah, great kids. They go to Park Place. That's who I am. So, sell real estate, love it. Been doing it forever.
All right, good episode. That was great, man.
Yep. Let's go.
No, look, we're super excited to have you with us today and give us some insight and knowledge into what's going on locally in our market. But we want to just dive in a little bit more about your background, where you came from, whatnot. So what did you do prior? So prior to real estate, who was Clay Parker? Where was he working? Or did you always know real estate was the path?
So I like to say I was doomed from birth. So my dad has been doing it for forever. Gary Parker, but he's been doing, I think, 54 years. I call him Godfather Real Estate. But so I grew up around it my whole life. From the time I can remember, I was going to open houses and just hearing that stuff around him. So when I went off to college, well, actually, when I graduated high school, I got licensed. But my dad wouldn't let me sell until I got a college degree. So I went to Mississippi State, graduated from Mississippi State with business emphasis in marketing. And I got out of college, I went straight into real estate. So 21, I think is how old. I think that's how old you are when you graduate.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So I started actually selling at 21, and
now who was what brokerage?
It was Dad's company,
Okay.
Professional Real Estate Offices.
Okay.
He still has that. He does a lot of property management, but now works for us here. Did that from the time I got out of college to about 2009. So was doing really, really well, and then the Great Recession hit. So I had 3 kids and said, hey, I either got to sell houses or feed my family. So I made the decision to venture off, went and got on with Pearl Fire Department, and so ended up staying there for about 7.5 years. Love that, every part of it. So still in front of the community, serving people.
I think I ran into you a little bit when I was in law enforcement.
Yeah, I mean, not that you arrested me.
No.
Just that we were on.
Yeah, I didn't arrest you.
Dang.
Not at least that we're going to tell on
That's
record.
right. Yeah, that's another podcast.
Yeah, we both were first responders.
That's right.
About the same
That's
time.
awesome. I didn't know y'all had that connection.
Yeah. So.
Well, real quick, when you say Great Recession, you're talking about 2008.
Yes, about 2006-ish is when it really got
so that's
bad.
when the real estate market
I guess in the past, if you look back past 80 years, there was about a 3-year span that real estate actually dipped.
Yeah.
And that was those times. That's recovered, tenfold since then. But so we were selling a whole lot of houses, and then we sold nothing. And I stuck it out for as long as I could, and then jumped into the fire department. I did that for about 7.5 years. Went up. I finished. I was a lieutenant with the Pearl Fire Department, paramedic. Left there, and then was full time with Pafford, one of their supervisors for Rankin and Madison County. until I was just gone too long. So I was way too much. So I left first responder. Actually left there and went and worked with a buddy of mine with Regional Homes, selling mobile homes. Loved that. Kind of got me back in the sales game. So still kind of real estate, but not really, right? I mean, you selling, I call them houses with wheels.
Yep.
But
Manufactured homes.
right, manufactured homes. But learned a lot of stuff about those as well, which I think helps now for when
We got a lot of them in
some of you yahoos start selling mobile homes. I got some insight on that too.
I've asked
So
you some questions about some.
but I did that for a couple of years, and then I said, well, I was in real estate, so I just went back, got my real estate license while I was there.
So when you went, I guess, first responder, you let it wasn't active anymore. You
Yeah,
let it
I
lapse.
got out of that.
So you had to re-up it.
So then selling mobile homes. Dad had a health scare, and he was with Better Homes Realty at the time, and I was like, hey, let me jump back into this game and kind of take stress off of him. And that's kind of the birth of, it was Summit Real Estate Consultants at the beginning, and then, fast forward a short 6 months is when I decided to go with Weichert. So that kind of jumped me, just kind of catapulted me back into the broker game. So,
What made you decide, were you going to?
Yeah, you go ahead. Yeah.
What made you decide Weichert?
Because there's a lot of
Not that
franchises
there's
out
anything
there.
wrong with Weichert. Love Weichert.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, because you're looking at franchises, right? And there's a lot of them you can get into. And
that's
they
right.
offer
And
a lot
Dad
of
was
good
with a
stuff.
franchise at the time.
Yeah.
So he kind of had some dealings. It was a company out of California, Avalar, and then they bought Better Homes brand. And then he asked me about that, and I was like, well, Better Homes sounds a little bit more southern.
That's true.
So nobody really knew who Avalar was. It's kind of a weird name. But so I did not have a really good taste in my mouth with franchises, to be honest with you. I didn't see where they helped my father in his little journey with a franchise at all. It was just kind of business as usual. You just have whatever. So when Weichert approached us, one, they're persistent. We talk about all the time, the fortunes in the follow-up. They would hammer me once a week, donuts, whatever. Anyway, so they finally talked to us into going to New Jersey, where their corporate office is, and said, just come and listen to what we have going on. So in my mind, I was like, well, I want to know if I'm even on the right track with the independent company. Yeah. And so maybe this is a good time just to hear, hey, how are the big guys doing it? And I was really going up there with the purpose of just bringing, hey, I'm going to copy some of the stuff they do and bring it back. But after meeting with them,
right? Got 500 offices.
So they go through the whole history. Weichert's one of the largest family-owned franchises. So they're not publicly traded. Jim and James Weichert started in 1969. They still sell real estate. So they're still in the game.
That's awesome.
Still family-owned.
Yeah, started with one office in New Jersey. Now they've got over 500 offices in 48 states. Third largest relocation company in the world, Weichert Workforce Mobility. So they're doing something right. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, well, let's go see what they have. But just the culture of teamwork that we saw when we were in New Jersey, integrity, they care about people, they were big on technology, and just all of the resources that they get. Really, they give us, or you get as a franchise. I don't think you're not giving anything, but you get it with the franchise.
Yeah.
But even from, for you guys as agents, just all the tools, the websites, the CRMs, everything that's in your tool bag is the same thing I have. Past that, we have weekly meetings with corporate on just business development. So they look at Buck and I's numbers and say, hey, you suck at this, so maybe work on this a little bit.
Do better on this area.
Yeah, do better. So they push us.
That's funny. You said that to me this morning.
Yeah, it is what it is.
I'm kidding. I'm
rolls
kidding.
downhill.
I'm,
It
I
rolls
know,
downhill.
but I'm kidding. He didn't say that.
Yeah. So one of the big things I saw as an independent that I needed was websites and CRM and all of this stuff that just helps us be more efficient. And I couldn't afford it as an independent. So at the very end of this meeting, they were like, "Hey, by the way, we're got this new system we're rolling out to all the affiliates. It's called My Weichert. It's powered by KV Core." And I was like, "Dadgummit, that's one of the CRM things that I've been really wanting, right?"
Yeah, looking at it.
Now it's Bold Trail or whatever, they change names, whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, "You got me." So here's my money.
Yeah.
So there we are. But it's proved to be,
Yeah.
well,
I want
fantastic.
to intersect here and say this too. As a newer agent, I haven't been in it long, but when I was looking for where I wanted to go, I had so many different options out there. But Weichert was the one where I came and talked to you, and I said, "Man, what do y'all have to offer? Because I want to learn, and soak in some stuff, and just I want to get to know contracts and how to do things in real estate." And I came over here, and he was like, "Man, we got this and this. We've got all these different programs, all these different online things that you can do." And I went through something that we call Fast Track, which was amazing. So if you're looking for a brokerage that has just anything and everything with learning, hopefully you'll consider Weichert, because I did, and it was a great step. Best decision I ever made in real estate. Glad to be here, and I appreciate you for all the help and advice and everything that you give along the way. It's been awesome. I appreciate you.
We're glad to have you on most days.
I'm sure.
Most days.
So yeah.
I'm sure he on most.
Oh,
days-
and then there's
I appreciate
Tripp.
it. I appreciate
Hey, yeah,
that.
we're glad to
And
have
then
you
there's
too,
Tripp.
Tripp.
I'm glad.
He's all right.
I'm glad you had me. I'm glad to be here too.
He's been here longer than me.
I'll piggyback off Ryan too, and that was the My Weichert you're talking about. Super user friendly. I've been at other brokerages, and those are franchise brokerages too, and they had similar stuff, but it's not in the depth that Weichert has it. And the My Weichert, I always call it the back office, and Chris is like, "It's not a back office. It's she's like, I have back office or whatever."
Yeah.
And so anyway, but the My Weichert it's a treasure trove of information and nuggets, and you can get lost in there. And you're good at telling us, pick one thing and do that. And the My Weichert, the CRM, it's the best I've seen in my experience coming from two other brokerages, and so I'm super excited that we got connected too.
You can get on there and you just pick your poison.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to. If you want to start doing open houses a lot, well, they've got everything in there you need for open houses.
The content
flyers and just whatever. Even stuff to post on social media.
Yep.
And we try to utilize that.
Well, and then we have the webinars. That's what I'm trying to take more advantage of too. Like you have the Wednesday webinars, and then you've got the ones that are already back there, and you can always hit something, right?
Yeah.
To go to just tweak that knowledge, get a little bit better to serve your community. Whatever.
So you get 1% better
Yep.
over the course of a year. Then that's really kind of our goal. Like you can, like y'all said. I mean, it's like drinking water out of a fire hose. When we sit there and say, "Hey, you got to learn My Weichert." You'll jump on there and be like, "Oh my gosh, it's just so much." And that's really not the way it's designed to learn it. We try to say, "Hey, just take this little nugget, get good at it this week, and then we'll go another nugget the next week." But and the other thing is we want y'all to do your plan. Everybody, this is your business under our umbrella, I guess. So we talk about ROI all the time, all this other stuff. Pay attention to what you're spending money on. And eventually you'll build a fail-safe business plan that's yours and nobody's going to copy. Right. It's kind of like this podcast, right?
Yeah.
Everybody likes the idea of doing it, but I don't know how, one. And two, it's not my plan. So
I don't know how either.
and consistency's the key, right?
I don't either.
Yeah.
Hey, so it's really Sarah behind the scenes here.
Yeah. Our producer's pretty amazing.
We give
right.
her shout out a lot.
But with anything in real estate, it's all about consistency. So you just got to keep going, keep pushing. We're set up for new agents or newer in the business with minimal success. Don't get me wrong, we want those experienced agents as well. But we love, my greatest joy is to get somebody that's new or that maybe is performing at the level that they want to be and see them succeed.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
but it also takes buy-in on their part as well. So,
Absolutely. You can't, I mean, you say this all the time. You can't just get into real estate and come in here and just sit down and go, okay, I got my license.
Where's the checks at?
Where are the checks at?
Where's the people selling houses?
It's a
Come
grind.
find me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like that.
It's a big misconception. I will say it. I even fall into the trap of that. You know, like
It's easy too.
I remember when I first got my license, and you know, I was like, people were like, "Oh, you'll be so good at this. You were born and raised around the reservoir area, and like people
gonna
know
kill it."
you. You're gonna kill it." And then you get your license, and you're kind of like, "Okay." And it's
Where's
like,
all my
I'm
friends
not killing
at?
it yet.
you just,
I'm not killing it.
no, I'm not. I'm not killing it. I'm not even scratching the surface. I mean, crickets are going off in the background, and
That's
you
right.
and you literally get into what do I do next?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think the misconception. I mean, I think. Not to knock on any shows or whatever, but I think, you know, TV and social media, it does kind of blow things out of perspective.
Yeah.
Because what you see on TV, you see...
It's not always selling sunset, right?
No, it's not always selling.
So-
And not every deal's a
Oh, yeah.
$1 million, $2 million, $5, $10 million deal.
You're going to have the manufactured homes, and
Yeah.
you're going to take them because
Yeah.
you need it.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot on the other side.
And they need help too.
Yeah. Well, there's just a lot on the other side people don't see as far as the work part, and it is grinding. I've talked to realtors over the course of me starting in investing in real estate and selling, and there's a benchmark for about the time of years being in the business that it all starts clicking, but you got to earn those stripes, and you got to do those things.
Right.
Like you said, when you get a new agent, you're able to mold them, and
Right.
you can kind of help them,
It's
navigate that stuff.
honestly, it's developing good habits.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you treat this seriously, like a career
Yeah.
and not just a side hustle,
Yeah.
then what we see about a 1.5 to 2 year mark, you start kind of building that business, and it starts snowballing from there. But
Yeah.
I think it's a misconception of how hard of a work it is for 2 years,
Yeah.
and the struggle is staying focused. Because everybody gets in it super confident, right? It's like, I passed my real estate class.
Yeah, it'll humble you quickly.
Passed all the
Oh, yeah.
state, national tests, and now
Which is very hard to
I
do.
sit in the office
Very hard
and
to do.
none of my friends that said, hey, I'll be great at it is using me or whatever. So you have this level of confidence way up here, and then you have this lag of your first contract, and you're like, man.
Yeah.
And then you start questioning, am I going to be able to do this? So and that's one of our jobs, is to say, hey, you got to stay focused. You got to stay focused. But if you can make it through that tough time, develop good habits, stay focused, stay consistent with it, then
Super rewarding
Yeah.
at the end.
it is.
I mean,
Yeah.
every deal's different. Every deal's rewarding. They all have their own stories.
Right.
But I think that's what I'm saying. It's got lost. People just associate license
Yeah.
and checks.
That's it.
And there's a lot in between
That's it.
that
And
goes
never
into
do
it.
this just for the money.
Yeah.
You
And
can't do it for the money.
No,
You
you-
got to
you-
have a bigger why
You got to, yeah.
than just, I want to make $1 million.
But
you
I
got to
will,
have a bigger why.
I will
than
say what I do love about real estate though is, you know, we're all in it for the careers, obviously, and to help people and service people. And we love real estate, but you can also be like, my career may look different than Ryan's. Like, he may be in 85, units a year, and I'm like, hey, I'm good. I'm good just selling 25 a
Yeah.
year or something. So like,
Right.
but you still have to, like you said, create your goals and do all that stuff to focus to get to there. And if you want to be, I guess, a part-timer, you can,
Yeah.
as long as you understand what that might look like
That's
and
right.
don't get discouraged by that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I love real estate in a lot of different aspects because you can make it what you want
Yeah.
it to be.
And so, and to differentiate part-time versus dual career. So that's two
Yeah.
words that we like to use. So part-time's tough. Part-time is those people that can't break away and do real estate. So if you're a nurse and you're in surgery,
Yeah.
Then-
Corporate life, I did that.
Right.
It's hard.
you can't just stop and answer the phone for a client.
Yep.
Though that's a really tough position to be in. School teachers, nurses. Now, I will say that school teachers and nurses typically do really, really well
Yep.
in real estate because they're service oriented.
Yeah.
But when you're part time and you're on such a strict schedule, and you can't answer the phone and talk about real estate during the day, it's tough.
Yeah.
The dual career is like you with
Yeah.
your double agent stuff, right?
Yeah. The insurance.
Where you can't answer the phone, you work insurance.
Yeah.
I can call you and say, hey, we have this lead for a listing, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And then you can drop
just switched.
insurance for a second,
Yep.
pick up with real estate, go do this, and then come back to insurance. So that's kind of your dual career scenario. I think Buck and I's deal is to get you so busy that
You
you
don't
just
focus
do
on
real
the,
estate, right?
don't focus on the duck calling
Yeah.
and the photography
That's
or the
right.
insurance.
So, but you love it, right? You love
Yeah.
you love making duck calls. You love doing the photography, the weddings, and all that stuff. How do you morph those things into real estate?
Yeah.
I mean, because it all plays a part, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
So, but yeah, I mean, it's fun, but it's a grind.
It's a grind.
So, with all that being said, what advice would you give somebody in the real estate who is just an agent who wants to be a broker one day? What advice would you give them? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Am
I would-
asking that right?
Yeah, I think first, like, I would go back to see what
I
led
don't want to
him.
be a broker.
What led him to be a broker? Was it your father that had the health scare, and you're like, hey,
Well,
I'm
so-
gonna get my broker's license and kind of help him partner up, or did you like, hey, I'm gonna be a broker?
Yeah, so when
That's a better way to
I've always I love building things, whether that's I was around new construction at the beginning of our career, so we did a ton of new construction stuff. But when I went to Mississippi State, I always had the desire to build something special, right? So I always knew that I kind of wanted to do, hey, I want to own a brokerage. And then Dad always owned his own brokerage.
Yeah.
I think he was one of the first to bring RE/MAX to the area. Then he spun off of that and went with Leach Real Estate. Love the Leaches to death. They still, Leanne and Penny still sell. And then he went from them to professional real estate offices, opened his own brokerage. And then he's always owned his own brokerage. So that's kind of what I grew up seeing.
I gotcha.
I just want to build something special. You talk about investing in houses. I love investing in people. So if I can spend as much time and, again, make all of y'all successful, then
watching people grow and
yeah.
grow their businesses.
That's
and
right.
help them
The
along
right
the way.
way, ethically, having integrity, and at the end of the day, serving people well in the communities. Then that's a win for me. As far as an agent wanting to be a broker, so I'm big on education. I think everybody should be. You should hone your art, right? Which is the reason when I got into fire department, they make you go to EMT. I wanted to be a paramedic, right? Because there was a level above what an EMT was. When I was ended with Pafford, I was in critical care because there was, you have paramedic and then you have another level of paramedic, which is critical care. So I always kind of want to be the best. So if I want y'all to be the most knowledgeable agents out there, which builds confidence, which builds service, you can service your clients the best. And I'm constantly honing on, become knowledgeable, hone your craft.
For sure.
Then I hope everybody's a broker, right?
Yeah.
There's two different trains of thought there. Some brokerages don't like it because
They
you
think
can
you're gonna-
spin off and
yeah.
you can open your own
Do
company,
your own
right?
thing, yeah.
But if we do a good job and you're happy and you're productive, then I think that builds loyalty as a company. And I think we have a really good culture.
Well, just what you're
here
saying,
with
just because
that,
you
but-
become a broker doesn't mean you have to leave your brokerage.
Right. You can become a broker associate.
Yeah.
That just shows the community that, hey, I take my job seriously. And I'm very knowledgeable at what I do.
Would
So-
you say that just like some people have the misconception, realtor equals a ton of money and the lifestyle, would you say that agents have the same kind of misconception, like agent, well, brokers got it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because agents can be super successful.
Yeah, so
You know what I mean?
they
But-
call us broker for a reason because we're a broker than everybody else. So yeah,
I
so
wondered what that meant.
that's it.
No,
So that's the
he's
reason they
lying.
say
Don't let
that.
him lie to you.
So again, it's your business. I
Yep.
mean, you guys have your own business under our umbrella. So
Right.
if you can make your business is what you want to make it. There is no cap of what you can earn. It's how much work you want to put into it. Does that help our brokerage when you're successful? Absolutely. I mean, I think it plays hand in hand.
Sure.
But I think being a broker just shows that you're starving for knowledge.
Yeah.
It's like anything else.
Yeah.
Be the best you can be, and if it's in the form of education, it's just going to spin off on your business, right? We get bogged down a lot just with day-to-day activities, right? We have overhead. I tell y'all all the time, if I can have nothing but y'all's assistants in the office, then we're winning, right? Y'all are out selling houses. I want to talk to your personal assistant. So you can do every aspect of a business under this umbrella. So you can hire a personal assistant. You can let them use a desk here. It's whatever. If you get busy enough to where you can show that, hey, if I have an assistant, I can increase my GCI this much, by all means do it.
Yeah.
And we'll help you figure out that business plan. But so yeah, I mean, you just don't have the initial investment and the building lease and all of that other stuff that comes along with building
I think a lot of
office.
people don't realize that too. As a realtor or a real estate agent, like the difference between that agent and a broker.
Yeah.
You've got way more liabilities and
Yeah.
I mean
If I screw up, he gets in trouble.
Yeah. So
yeah.
which is why we harp
That's
so much
true.
on training, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
me and Buck don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to. There's a right way and a wrong way to do any of it. So we try to do it the right way, which keeps Buck and I out of lawsuits, and it keeps y'all out of trouble, right? And it elevates y'all in the industry because I mean, at the end of the day, we have to be friends with everybody else in the industry. One of our jobs is networking with other real estate agents.
Yep.
So it is what it is. So if you have a bad rap in the real estate community, it makes it a little bit tougher to sell houses. So we got to play nice with everybody, and we love everybody in the industry. But I think you can tell the difference between somebody who knows what they're doing and somebody that doesn't, just on phone calls. So we want y'all to be in that top echelon of, hey, these agents want to work with you. You sell houses better, your listings will go fast because they want to work with you, right?
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and I think all of that stems from knowledge and training.
For sure.
So,
Well, that's what I think it all boils down going back to that grind. And one thing that I learned very early on, because when you come from a structured corporate life or, first responder type life, you have a routine and you're going to you're clocking in, going to your meeting and where you're going to be hitting the beat or whatever, and you know where you're going to be stationed. And I've got, when I was in corporate America, I was 8 to 5.
yep.
And at 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, I was working.
And
When
you
I
leave
left, I left it.
That's it.
And
We never off.
When you first, but you also can get into the okay, I've got this game, and like you said, if you're slow, that's when you should be learning, in my opinion, because you can just sit there and be like, well, now I'm just watching TV at the house. I have my license, but I don't know what to do.
Right.
And I think that can trap a lot of people.
There's always something to do. There's, and we talk about time blocking, which I tell you all the time, I suck at it.
Yeah.
But we talk about time. You can take 30 minutes every day to say, hey, this little nugget, I'm going to try this.
Yep.
We talk about tracking everything. So if you know what you're doing and you're very pointed on what you're doing, then you can see if it's working or not. If it's not working, quit doing it and then do something else that is working. But that takes a long time. If you do this over a course of 1-2 years, then eventually you know what works for you, and something completely different may work for me. But I think also in the office we have a great, a team culture that says, hey, y'all say, hey, podcast works great, but y'all are willing to help others say, hey, this is how you develop a podcast. Or, this verbiage on this squeeze page worked best for me, so use it. or whatever that looks like. So we're not. I hope that we don't become a place where somebody gets really, really successful, and they keep all of that knowledge to themselves and don't share it with the newer agents.
Yeah, I mean, I've had somebody tell me in my first brokerage, and I still take this, I mean, to heart. And I heard somebody say it. I think even David said it on our last podcast with him. He's, they both said there's enough business in this area for everybody to be successful. And I truly believe that.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no reason to be, I guess, to hoard your knowledge. And then if you're in a different brokerage, there's no reason to feel like there's a huge competing factor there.
That's right.
It is a very competitive business, and that's fine. And and I think that helps.
There's enough to go around.
Sure, and I think
there's a right way to compete and a wrong way to compete.
Yeah,
if it's 100%. If you respect the community, and you're sitting in front of a seller on an interview, and XYZ company says, hey, this is what we do, then hopefully nobody here, we say, hey, this is what we do, and that's that. It's it's just difference of companies. It's not,
that's right.
Don't use that person because,
well, and that's what I was going to say is that as far as Weichert goes, in my experience thus far, it has been a very refreshing, there's not that competing in-house factor.
Right.
Everybody here has been super supportive. I know you get super fired up when we sell and close. I remember my first couple when I came in. I mean, high-fiving, celebrating, and that's fun, and it makes you want to go out there and work hard, but and contribute to your team. And
look,
I do feel like
this can be super frustrating. So if you can't have fun, why do it? I mean, it's I like to say I can have fun at a funeral. But you got to have fun doing it because
it's all about your perspective.
Yeah, sure. Mindset is 100%.
Yeah, it's almost a weird thing. You celebrate your wins, but you also kind of celebrate your losses too. Yeah. I mean,
hey, that one didn't work out.
Yeah, talk about struggles. I mean, everybody can learn from them.
What did I learn from this? Yeah. How can I move forward?
Yeah.
How do we get better? Lost this deal. How do we get better? Not that not happen again. So, and what y'all have struggles with, I promise you somebody else is having struggles with them. Yeah. So talk about it,
Yeah, for sure.
The hardest thing is getting y'all to brag about yourself. I ask every week, man, what good happened? Y'all like,
I know.
You say, hey, what are you struggling with? And it's like,
well, whine about everything.
Well, gummit, say
being
something
humble
good.
Is a good quality.
Being
humble.
But you got to be able to brag on yourself too.
I know. It's hard to toot your own horn sometimes. You know what I mean?
It is.
Like, look at me,
but hey.
But
you recognize your successes when you do that.
Yeah.
There's that.
That's true. Well, speaking of successes and challenges and whatnot, we just came out of 24. I've heard, I don't know, man, mixed emotions from realtor friends and outside the office, inside the office. Like some people said I had the best year, and some people said it was terrible. I don't know where it lines up really. I know for me, and I know Ryan is getting really dug in, but I know for me, it was one of my better years.
Right.
How do you feel like 2024 tapped out? How did you feel like 2024 was, and what do you think our outlook for 25 is looking like so far?
So, as a company, we had the best year that we've had. So, it was a challenging market. We went through a lot of changes with the NAR guidelines and all that other kind of good stuff. I think a lot of people freaked out.
Yeah.
Focused on that, which probably slowed business a little bit. Everybody's scared to death of it. It's really not that big a deal.
No.
But it was challenging. I mean, we went through a lot of stuff. Inflation was up, but home appreciations are still high.
Yep.
I think we're still in a position where there's a lot of pent-up energy. So interest rates are still a little bit higher than normal. However, traditionally over the course of the last 100 years, it's a normal interest rate. COVID rates, look, that was an anomaly, right?
Yeah.
That was not normal. I know as real estate agents, I mean, we were pulling our hair out. Like, it was the most stressful daggum time to buy a house ever. I think for buyers and sellers. You sit down with a seller, you got 44 offers and $60,000, $70,000 over list price, and I mean it was listed for 22 minutes. And it's like, good Lord, man.
It was insane.
It was insane.
I think it'll be talked about for a long time.
So now it's kind of settled down. We can get into a little bit more regular conversations about real estate. So yeah, 2024, it was a challenging market.
Yeah.
I think it's still challenging. Not bad, just challenging.
Yeah.
Again, appreciation, they're 3 to 5% home appreciation, so it's still a good investment.
Yep.
Is it going to be a crash? I mean, I like to look at it as economics, so it's all supply and demand.
I say no. I tell people no crash. Maybe a softening, settle down a little bit, but like the crash, like you talk about the Great Recession, that 2008, I just don't see anything that shows we're set up for that.
So there was a lot of different things that happened in 2006, right? So bank regulations, the whole 9 yards, there was a ton of supply that hit the market because of the lack of regulation. So you had a huge foreclosure market. You had, all of this stuff played a part in that 2006. And then you look at it now, those regulations they put in place after that are still there. One of the other things, you have a lot of appreciation in houses. The 17% appreciation over COVID times. I mean, would you foreclose on our house, or would you just reach out to one of us and say, hey, I'm behind on my note.
Let's sell this bad boy.
Let's sell it because I got 20% appreciation from when I bought it in 2018.
Yeah.
So I think I don't foresee a crash. No. Obviously, none of us have a crystal ball, but it's just supply and demand. So there's still people that want to buy houses. There's still people that want to sell them. I think people are selling out of necessity now versus just, oh, look at that big, beautiful farmhouse. That's what I want. Now it's, do we need to upsize? I mean, if you have another baby, if you want to downsize, all that stuff, it all plays a part in it. So, but typically people have a lot of appreciation in their house. Yeah. So, and it's still a great investment. That's how you build wealth, is owning real estate. So
you think 2025, in your opinion, no crystal ball, but like, you think it's going to continue? I mean, we just had our meeting, right? So we see that market seems that like for the last year, 2 years, it's been a hot seller's market. Right. Wouldn't you say?
And it's still a good seller's market.
It's still a good seller's market, but we're seeing it's starting to kind of...
It's plateauing, right? Yeah. So we say it all the time, it's increasing at a decreasing rate. So where you have that really sharp incline with appreciations over COVID, it's just kind of flattened out. Yeah. Still appreciating, but it's just at a slower rate. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think 2025 is going to be fun, right? Yeah. I think everybody's got kind of a breath of new life, new administration, all that kind of stuff nationally, and let's see what happens.
I heard word of him possibly getting rid of income tax.
Yeah.
I was like,
who knows?
What's that?
I don't look. I try not to watch the news because it starts making me not like humans. Yeah. So I watch little tidbits of it just to stay abreast of I guess hot topics. But when they start talking, he said, she said stuff, I'm like, I'm out.
I know as a 1099 worker, I would love to have a less tax burden.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, I don't know what that,
Well, you know what they say: if you don't have to pay taxes, you ain't making any money. So it's a trade-off. Just don't make any money.
I guess I've never really thought about it that way.
Just don't make money. You don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah.
And that's no fun either, right?
Man, so I guess it could be worse.
Yeah.
Pay your taxes, right?
There is the problem.
That's it. So, but yeah, I think 2025, I think it'll be, it's kind of plateaued off now. Yeah. But it's typical this time of year.
Yeah.
And I think we've been that normal cycle.
Yeah, spring's coming. I'm excited to see what happens. Me and you said on one of our episodes that we're optimistic about 25.
Yeah. I'm excited.
It's going to be good. And it's all mindset.
It is.
It really is.
I think we have to get the buyers, look, because I'm one of them. I've got a 2.375 interest rate. I'm like, come on. But I'm like, I'm not going to have that again if I sell. But to your point, right, like, I mean, I look back at what my parents had back in the day, and they were 13, 14, 15%.
Yeah, I mean, Dad tells me stories. He was selling houses left and right on his 18% interest rate.
Yeah, I guess
my
it's all.
first house was 6.5%.
I guess it's all relative too, for the prices were back then too, and I get that, but
But
I
the
just
incomes
feel
were down as well.
that's true.
So it's
again,
all relative.
yeah,
So
you
it's all kind of increased the same rate.
I think once buyer confidence, and I think that will start turning this year, and I think that's why I'm positive about the outlook. Right? I think the buyer confidence will slowly get back in there.
Sure.
There's a lot that there's been adjusting to the interest rates.
So nationally, though, I mean, we're still, I think, about 10 million units shy of where the population is. So, and one thing Americans hadn't stopped doing is making babies, right? So the population are keep growing, and you know, builder confidence is down a little bit now, just with interest rates and stuff. So they're building less houses, and
material costs.
Yeah, from that, and then what was it?
Costs are still a little high.
A year and a half ago, they lowered the age, so an 18-year-old can buy a house now. So they just interjected a lot more buyers into the market. So, you know, it's just it's supply and demand. So we don't have a whole lot of supply versus the amount of people that can buy.
Yeah.
So another trend though is people are renting longer. So you know, they're staying with their parents a little bit longer. So the actual age of people buying has increased a little bit.
I would say the renting longer too. I would say the perception of renting is not. I would say, I guess when I first got into
you don't want to rent, right?
Oh, don't be a renter. Like it was a bad thing. It's not a bad thing anymore. You got literally people that can buy a house that would prefer to rent because they don't want to deal with all
I think it's
stuff.
the commitment problem.
Yeah.
So where are you going to be, right? I'm not a proponent of renting. I mean, we do property management, so I don't want to be like that big deal. But if you want to build wealth, if that is your goal, is to build wealth, investors buy rental houses for one reason, to build wealth.
That's right.
A home is an investment. So it's not something you'll get rich on in the first 6 months, year, 2 years. However, it does appreciate in value. A lot of tax benefits from owning. Mortgage interest you can write off, that sort of stuff.
I say it all the time. That's the best bank account you can have.
Yeah.
It's a piece of real estate.
Yeah. So, but if your goal is to build wealth, then renting is not your. I mean, that's 100% interest, right? Somebody's making money on it. You can't write off the mortgage interest. You can't write off rent in a lot of places. But you know, it's if you're in the market to build wealth, then owning is where it's at. So. But
well, you said in the second episode, I think we were talking about debt. You were talking about the owning a home is just basically a big savings account. I said, I think like 4 savings account, and people don't see, may not see it that way, but that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
That's right.
Well, and I mean, turning your perspective to that too. I mean, thinking about, okay, if I buy this house, I've got this much money I want to spend on a house. If I buy this house, just having that perspective of I'm putting this money in like it's a bank account. I'm gonna make some money. We might be able to buy a bigger house in a couple of years. Depending on where you buy at.
It just sits there.
Perspective, not just thinking about it as I'm buying a house.
You get the appreciation plus what you're paying down the principal.
Right. That's right. So, but I mean, we can break what that looks like down.
Oh, absolutely.
Call us. We sit down with you.
That's right.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, we've been plugging Weichert all day, baby.
That's right. But we can kind of walk you through what that investment looks like.
We're gonna have to get this guy a shirt, man. I'm telling you.
All we need is a buy-in. That's what's lacking is buy-in.
I ordered 5 brand new shirts, so I'm gonna have a different color on from now on.
I'm glad, man.
Every episode.
I'm not gonna say, look, he looks good. I'm just,
he does,
I'm
a
a walking billboard. You got yours on.
There you go.
Y'all beautiful too yourself.
Yeah, thanks. I'm just full of compliments here.
All right, before we end this thing today,
do
you have any? I want to hear an awesome real estate story.
Give us the goods, man.
What is the best, most craziest? Not best. What's the craziest thing?
Without getting in trouble with like MREC.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so y'all sent me that question. I'm like, I don't really. Everything's different. Like every deal's different. I mean, I don't know. I see all of y'all stuff, so
That's
y'all
funny
do
enough.
some crazy
That's
stuff.
crazy.
I'm just saying.
What's one that just stands out over the years that you're just like, man, I hope that never happens again?
Either that or like one that was just like this, whatever pops out. It could be crazy. I hope that never happens again. Or this was such a good ending to this story. I mean, he sold so much real estate. I don't even know.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
got so many
honestly,
stories.
it's you know, I know you try to think back. I really did try to think back way back in the day, and like, my goodness, what happened? I mean, really, it's if you do a good job, then it's rewarding on every deal.
Yeah, that is true.
And I try to hold those really rewarding ones close because you'll always have a bad one, right? And you can be like, man, I'm out of this dadgum thing after those. But I always try to go back and say, okay, well, I had a string of 20 great ones. I was kind of due for that difficult one. I mean, I don't know. I mean, they're all different. I mean, we just recently had a closing that literally the day of closing, one of the seller went into labor. So, I mean, we had to send notaries to hospitals, and it's just trying to get the deal done, right?
Like, they're like, doctor, you don't understand. We're here closing today.
Yeah. So, you know, the husband's like, don't ask me to leave again. I'm like, okay, well, we're not. So how do we get over it? You just, I mean, hey, there's always a solution somewhere. We just got to hear about it and, hey, let's put our head together. So, yeah, we run into all kinds of different issues. It's just, where's that solution? So if you can go at it from a solution mindset, then 9 times out of 10, they work out fine.
Yeah.
If you freak out, then everybody freaks out. And you're like, oh, this is a train wreck.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, again, I don't really care. There's not one that just pinpoints, hey, this was craziness.
That's how good he is.
I mean,
every one of them.
Well,
I mean, the difficult
been
ones,
just so
yeah,
smooth.
obviously, you sell the house and there's a quarter of an acre on the back of a 10-acre piece of property that now you have, 14 heirs and you got to track them down. Those are like, oh my gosh, they
that's a
all
spider
own
web.
an eighth of an acre, and you got to get all of them to sign off just because of, uncle left it that quarter of an acre to family.
And that does happen.
It does. It happens a bunch.
One of my first ever deals, or let me rephrase this. I'm sorry, it wasn't a deal yet, but it was. Hey Ryan, go out, and we got this piece of property out here. Go see if you can sell it. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna bring a buyer. How many owners are there, or who's the owner? Oh, there's 5 or 6. Oh, really?
Yeah.
You think we can get them out here to cut the grass? No, that's not going to happen. Nobody wants to cut the grass. Nobody really wants to sell it. Oh, okay, so I'm supposed to sell something that's not really
For sale. They all want a different price point.
Nobody wants to make it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not, but you
that's
just
what you
kind
run
of,
into. You just keep
that's
on.
the stories that I hear from you guys is you just come and sit down and be like, hey, I got this problem.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, well, what can we do to either get over this little hurdle or say, oh, this is a train wreck, run, or whatever.
And I'll give it to Clay. 99% of the time, he's like, "Oh, that's nothing.
Yeah,
we got
Oh,
this. We
yeah.
can fix that. That's not a problem.
Yeah. I will turn a molehill into a mountain, and Clay's like, hey,
Everything's fine.
this is okay.
this is
You're
normal real estate.
Yeah, and to be honest, I want you to calm down from the thing because you just kind of, that initial panic is like, hey, this is actually, you're right on track. You just got to push through one little thing.
Yeah.
So it's been good.
That's another thing about real estate.
So I guess I'm hearing our challenge is we got to do something that really throws you a curveball. When we have you back on, you can say, hey, this is how Ryan and Tripp really screwed up.
The day in the life. Y'all won't even be here. We'll just get Sarah to come set the cameras up and be like, hey, add this to that podcast. This is what these guys do.
Yeah, this is what they were looking for.
Tripp, we're actually in jail right now.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
No.
So, yeah,
Man.
it's...
They couldn't be here.
Yeah, but it's fun. All of it's fun.
Yeah.
It's but it's all different, and you don't really know real estate. They teach you real estate in school, the 1,000,000-foot overview, and then you get with a broker, and hopefully they will teach you how to sell real estate. And you do this by actually doing it. So
Yeah, the boots on the ground.
And I'll just go ahead and say this: if y'all are interested in getting into real estate, any one of us, you can call any of us. We'd love to hook you up with Clay. You can come talk to him. I'll say this: best thing that ever happened to me was somebody said, Ryan, maybe you should just go talk to my broker. Just take 5 minutes, you know, go talk to him, see what he's about, see what he has to offer,
and we'll see if it's a match. You know?
I did that, and it worked out. And
yeah.
Thank you, Miss
We'd love
Alexis
to-
Bailey.
That's it.
Alexis, we'll plug Alexis.
We'll get
Alexis
Alexis in
Bailey.
here.
Yeah, she's the star agent for sure. So got these two hood rats with us. So,
Well, man, this has been good. Look, tell everybody where you can be found if you want to be found.
Facebook.
If I want to be found, right? So we're at our office in Brandon, right across from Crossgates Lake, 3 Stonegate, big yellow sign out in the front yard.
Yep.
Office number 601, 824-1140.
There you go.
You can call my cell, 601-278-8618. But yeah, you're looking to buy, sell, call these guys. So call Tripp or Ryan.
We'll figure out which one gets it.
That's right. Look, we'll just set a ring up in the front yard and see what happens, you know. But yeah, so, and look, I'm sure when we get closer, y'all will start talking about all the stuff we have at the office, like Dog Days of Summer and Pumpkin Patch.
Oh, yeah, we're looking forward to
that was fun last
So,
year. Dog Days of Summer was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I brought my new puppy out here and
That's right.
Yeah.
and walked her around in June.
Yeah. Oh, June.
I think I got my nephew he's gonna sing for us at Dog Days.
Okay,
So
cool.
Cooper,
That'd be
Cooper
fun.
Albright, up and coming.
Yeah.
Find him on TikTok. I'll give him a
Boy
little
can
plug.
sing.
They plug. Hey, we do.
Exactly.
Selfish plugs are fine here.
That's
you know
right.
what I mean? So,
Find him on TikTok.
Well, this is for local
That's
real
it.
estate
Yeah.
and businesses and people.
That's
So
it.
there you
Yeah.
go.
That's the reason it's called Real Talk.
Yep.
Or Real People.
Yep.
Real Talk in Real Estate.
That's right.
You know, we like to bring it back around to real estate, but
Yeah.
it's about all the things.
That's
in
it.
life and what we're doing as real estate agents and insurance agents and all the things. So
Yep.
Well,
thanks
man,
so much for being here.
yeah, man, appreciate you
Had a
spending some
blast.
time with us and whatnot, and we're gonna let
We'll do it
everybody get
again.
on. Yeah, we're gonna let everybody get on their day. If y'all haven't, guys, like go out there, subscribe to the channel, Mississippi Real Estate Podcast, like, subscribe, and if y'all have anything y'all want us to talk about, drop us a comment.
Yep.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much. Y'all
Y'all have a
great
blessed day.